Now moving to our next topic, population control. There is an urgent need to have a general awareness in our society regarding the advantage of small families, then keeping sufficient space between successive births, right? Successive birth control and spacing between them, and prevention of unwanted pregnancies. All these are to be kept under check. So, what is birth control? Birth control is the regulation of conception by preventive measures or devices to control the number of offsprings. This is called birth control. That means when we control the number of offsprings by using various devices, a number of preventive methods or devices have been developed which will deliberately prevent fertilization or conception or help a woman to avoid unwanted pregnancies. And these methods are categorized as follows. The first one is the barrier method. These are the methods of birth control. Barrier method means the physical device which will act like a barrier. What? To prevent entry of sperm in the female reproductive, or we say genital tract. Clear? During copulation. These also protect against sexually transmitted diseases. Protect against sexually transmitted diseases. Right. So these are barrier methods. The first one in it is condom. These are thin, strong rubber sheets. Thin but strong rubber sheath. Clear, children? Used by man to cover the external genitalia, that means penis, during copulation. Simple and effective way, and widely used contraceptive that has no side effect. What it does? It checks pregnancy. How? By preventing the deposition of semen into the vagina. By preventing deposition of semen in vagina. Clear? This method gives best results when used regularly and put on before starting the activity. Then our feridome, diaphragm. These are certain devices. I'll mention that: femidone, diaphragm. This particular one is a thin rubber tube which fits inside vagina. So this is for the female. Same this one. It's basically not a common contraceptive method, right? And diaphragm, it's a flexible rubber cover that is fitted over the cervix. In the female's vagina. Clear? and this particular one is also not so common. Then these are smeared with a spermicidal jelly or a cream and must be kept fitted for at least 6 hours after the sexual intercourse. So this particular one is for female and not so common. The one which is common is condoms. Moving to the second method, chemical method. In chemical method, we see that foam tablets, jellies, paste, cream, and spermicides. These are some common chemicals which are used by females. These chemicals are used by females and they are placed in vagina. These chemicals adhere to the what? How do they act? These chemicals adhere to the basically the wall in the vagina, the mucous membrane, and immobilize and kill the sperms. Adhere to the mucous membrane and kill the sperms. So basically what is their role? They change the permeability of the mucous membrane. They change the membrane permeability. It means they make it phagocytic in action, which will kill the sperm. Same way, oral pills. What the oral pills do? Oral pills are used to check ovulation. Now what does it mean? They are mainly hormonal preparations. Hormonal preparation, the one hormone which controls ovulation, automatically it is going to hinder in the activity of that hormone. It prevents development of egg and ovulation by inhibiting secretion of FSH, फॉलिकल स्टिमुलेटिंग हार्मोन की फंक्शनिंग को वो इनहिबिट कर रहा है. तो क्या होगा? ओव्यूलेशन तो इफेक्टिव होगा ही नहीं, मीन्स एग विल नॉट बी रिलीज्ड. So the oral pills act on hypothalamus, pituitary and the ovaries. That's why they are called oral contraceptives, because they are taken normally as other tablets. Then are the vaginal pills. These pills are the drug preparations. These contain spermicidal activity, spermicidal action. It means they are used before copulation by the women and will automatically help in the removal of all the sperms, because it will kill the sperms and will not allow them to reach the oviduct region. Then are the third methods, IUCD, that means intrauterine contraceptive devices. IUCDs, these are specially made up of copper. ठीक है, तो हम इनको बोलते हैं copper T. This is a stainless steel or a plastic contraceptive device, okay, inserted into the uterus by a doctor or a skilled nurse and left in place. A female cannot use it. Female cannot place it on her own. So what it does, it prevents implantation in the uterus, obviously, and the other intrauterine contraceptive devices along with that copper T is loop, spiral ring, bow and shield. Basically, why we say copper T? Because it is in this shape. That's why we call it copper T. This particular area is made up of stainless steel or the device copper T. And these can be placed for long periods, that is up to 5 years. But the drawbacks are there. They may lead to discomfort, they may lead to bleeding or itching in that area. And it may also come out without a woman's knowledge. So these are to be inserted by a doctor or a skilled nurse. Clear? Moving to the fourth one. That is a natural method. Natural method is periodic abstinence, meaning to avoid copulation at the time of periodic abstinence. That is, avoid copulation during those periods whenever the ovulation is around. Okay? Or coitus interruptus, that means withdrawal of the penis before the ejaculation. We call it coitus interruptus. This is when the female has given birth to a baby. That time no ovulation takes place, so periodic abstinence हुई जाती है. And abstinence itself, a single word, means avoiding copulation when the rhythm method, meaning around the time of ovulation takes place. So we are covering both under the periodic abstinence. Coitus interruptus means withdrawal of penis before ejaculation. Withdrawal of penis before ejaculation. The last method that we move to now is surgical method. Surgical method. Surgical method means the safe and the long run, but these may also cause infections and other problems if not done properly. There are two methods, vasectomy and tubectomy, as the name suggests. Vasectomy is performed in males because it is the cutting and ligation of vas deferens. Tubectomy is performed in females. It is the cutting and ligation of the fallopian tube. Vasectomy, it is small surgical operation. Both are actually the small surgical operations. Surgical operation where removal of a small portion of the sperm's duct, the vas deferens, is done and the two ends are cut and ligated with threads. Here, removal of a small portion of vas deferens is done by operation. It's a small operation, okay? And the two ends, the cut ends, are ligated with thread. What it does? It prevents the sperms from coming out. Alright, tubectomy. It's again a small surgical operation done in females. Here too, removal of small portion of fallopian tube by surgical operation is done, and then the two cut ends are joined or ligated with thread. Same, what it does, it prevents the egg to enter the fallopian tube. It will not reach the fallopian tube where the site of fertilization is. Both are known as the methods of sterilization because these do not affect the normal sexual life. Clear? After this, we move to next topic, that is STDs, sexually transmitted diseases. What are sexually transmitted diseases? It means the infectious, communicable diseases which spread from an infected person to a healthy one by sexual contact. We are not saying through air, water, but by sexual contact. That's why we call them sexually transmitted diseases. See, human beings suffer from over 30 different kinds of sexually transmitted diseases. They may be caused by bacteria. These may be caused by protozoa, viruses, but here we are going to discuss all the common ones. The first one is gonorrhea, G-O-N-O-R-R-H-E-A, gonorrhea, caused by bacteria. It's a bacterial disease. And the name of the bacteria is N-I-S-S-E-R-I-A, Neisseria gonorrhea, H-O-E-A-E. See, as per the scientific rules of naming, जब भी हमें कभी भी biological nomenclature में नाम लिखना होता है, हम genus and species को separately underline करेंगे and we will follow all the rules of nomenclature while writing this name. Here what happens? Victim feels or the person feels, we are talking about the symptoms. Burning sensation. First of all, burning sensation and pain during urination. ठीक है? The disease causes inflammation of the mucous membrane. Inflammation of mucous membrane of urogenital tract, rectum, throat, eye, जहाँ जहाँ mucous membrane होती है वहाँ inflammation हो जाती है. And here we see there may be pus from the penis and excessive secretion from the vaginal region, because this is common to males and females both. All the diseases that we are talking about, they are common in males and females, meaning can occur to anyone. That's why these are transmitted sexually. First of all, what it does? Pus from penis and excessive secretion from vagina. These are the two different symptoms in both. Excessive secretion from vagina. Obviously, it can be cured with antibiotics, but generally, when it lasts, it causes problem. Secondly, syphilis. Syphilis, again a bacterial disease. Caused by Treponema, pallidum. Okay, नाम याद नहीं भी रहता तो कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. You should know it's a bacterial disease or a viral disease. Clear? ये ज़रूरी है कि आपको पता हो. Then it also affects, it's a chronic illness. It affects the mucous membrane. Affects the mucous membrane in genital tract, rectal and oral regions. It causes lesions. Causes lesions, right? Infection occurs obviously by the sexual intercourse and occasionally by coming in contact with the body parts, and syphilis is easily cured with antibiotics. Then HIV. We all know about HIV. HIV is human immunodeficiency virus causing AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, right? Fast spreading incurable disease, that is what we say. What it does, weakens the immune system. Weakens the immune system of a person, right? Generally what is believed is it has passed from chimpanzees. It has come from chimpanzees, right? And generally in India, the first case of AIDS was reported in Chennai in 1986. In India, the first case is reported in Chennai in 1986. Fine. See, this disease can manifest in two major ways. Maybe the malignant tumor, maybe it may cause any kind of loss of appetite, unexpected loss of weight, chronic diarrhea, cough, night sweats, shortness of breath, severe weakness. Person when affected with AIDS can show any symptom, and in people with AIDS, infection is these diseases. These may lead to neurological damage and physiological wasting, which leads to death. AIDS is, what we know about AIDS is, AIDS always gets transmitted through spread of disease. When we talk about spread of disease, we say AIDS, it is transmitted by the contact. Which contact? Basically infected cell containing blood of a patient, with the blood of a healthy person. Secondly, we say unprotected sex with an infected partner. Right. Third, we say use of contaminated needles and syringes, right, to inject drugs or vaccine. Then fourth, we say use of contaminated razors for shaving. Then number fifth is transfusion of infected blood. And from infected mother to her fetus or baby developing in the womb through placental cord. What is the prevention? Prevention, we already know that people, particularly those in the high risk group, should be educated, and this advantage of using condom, dangers of sharing needles, this all should be in everybody's mind. This kind of education should be provided to all. Clear? This is all about the chapter. Thank you.